Hello, hello, and welcome back to Surviving to Thriving. And here, this is a platform just for highly sensitive folks and those who might know HSPs as well, to address how to move from just being in this place of struggle and dealing with life that feels too big, too loud, too crazy, just too much, to a place of calm and really being able to enjoy the benefits that come from being highly sensing. And I am your host and guide, Tammy Goen, high sensory coach. As always, I'm glad to be here with you, and I'm here to help as many highly sensing folks as possible to stop playing small and feeling wrong, feeling like they have to be completely different, and being able to really embrace who they are and be a strong yet gentle force in the world. So thank you so much for being here. Today, I want to talk about sensitivity and being healthy. So my first quote is, I believe that the greatest gift you can give your family and the world is a healthy you. And that was written or spoken by Joyce Meyer. And I, of course, always pick quotes that I really like that resonate for me, but I just think this is so true that it's like the oxygen mask idea of taking care of yourself. If you are healthy, then you can make sure everyone else is healthy, and it's a win-win. So it's really important to focus on being healthy, and being highly sensing can make that a little bit trickier. And I have written a blog post at one point on Elaine Ahrens, who she's the kind of the guru of high sensitivity, if you will, the first person that did all the research and really coined the term. And fairly recently, she did an overview of some new research that has come out that actually shows apparently that highly sensitive people don't necessarily have more illness or longer standing conditions or anything like that that's in the medical field, at least as they are recognizing it. And that really the biggest factor has to do with stress and stress reactions or stress responses. So I do agree with some of that to an extent, but in my experience with so many people that I know, either personally or as clients who are highly sensing, it seems to me that that doesn't really hold true, that a lot of sensitives are likely to have more of a struggle in being healthy, that, you know, we can have more health issues or multiple, or just seemingly taking longer to resolve things or not understand why something is there, what it is. And maybe that's just because those are the folks that I'm around, and that seems to be happening quite a lot. Maybe it's just circumstantial, I don't know. But it does seem that even though that research showed that maybe there is a little higher likelihood that we're experiencing something more than average. So I just want to talk about why that actually might be, whether that's showing in the research or not in terms of experience. Again, that seems to be pretty accurate. So let's see, you know, what might be affecting our overall health as sensitives. So first, we have the thing that I talk about all the time is our nervous system functioning. And if we are like these big sponges without all the filters and stuff is just constantly pouring in, then it makes sense that our nervous systems would be on edge, tapped out, you know, in that fight or flight or freeze or fawn mode, most, if not all the time, because we're constantly dealing with all of that stuff coming in. So as always, it's just so important to have all those tools in place to help to minimize all of that, the effect of all of that input. And that it really is those things that are most important, I think, in that realm is things that calm our nervous system. So if we are just constantly on edge, constantly doing, never, you know, slowing down, and feeling like everything is just building, our buckets getting overflowing, then we're setting ourselves up for being sick. And that's not just highly sensing people, right? With so much stress out there, all these increased stressors these days, pretty much everyone, especially since COVID, has been experiencing more stress than usual. That doesn't mean that the stress responses are as strong, and ours might be stronger. that has actually been shown in the research that our stress responses do tend to be more extreme. But in general, if our nervous system is tapped out sooner or more easily, then it makes sense that we would have a, a harder time staying healthy if we're just not able to get the nervous system under control. And I don't mean like we have to control it, but I mean, that if we're doing all the right things and we're really helping it to calm down and be in a lower baseline where it can handle more stuff coming in, then we're going to be in a much better position to stay healthy. And then, as of course I always also talk about, self-care. And so part of that is doing things that calm our nervous system. Part of it is just being good to ourselves and having that ability to give us permission to take care of ourselves in many, many ways, not just for our nervous system, but doing things that resonate and setting those boundaries and making sure that we have enough time for all the things that we need to do, and sleep and all of those things that I've talked about many times. All of that is very, very important for our nervous system, yes, but also for our immune system, because this is what also, research shows these days, that a lot of things that we're dealing with that in the health arena are attributed to responses to stress. So we really need to be taking care of ourselves. Everyone does, but especially highly sensing folks we need to have that, top of mind and have that as a priority. So again, we can manage all that stuff that's happening that's a little bit more challenging for us, or maybe sometimes a lot. So some other things to think about are just the fact that we do have higher reactions to things, whether that's chemicals or various substances, foods, sounds, other things in our environment, energy, even smells. Some things can lead to a higher stress response, and some things can actually lead directly to physical challenges. And that can even include things like supplements, things that we're doing to make ourselves healthy, or medications that we're told this is what you need to take, and we take it and we have some kind of reaction to it. And so we either can't take it, we can't take the dosage we're supposed to have, or we're miserable, or somehow set us up for another type of illness because we're doing what we're supposed to be doing according to doctors or practitioners of some kind who are saying, oh, this is the answer, but we react to it. And so that doesn't actually end up helping us after all. So we do need to be aware of those things, how we respond, how we react to things in our environment, to things that we ingest, that are around us, that we smell, that we pay attention to so much. And those things can have an effect on our immune systems and in general in just our state of health. So one thing that I have talked about that you may or may not have heard about is differential susceptibility. And that's important to be factoring in when we're trying to make sure that we're staying healthy, is what is was our childhood like? So it's something that's been, talked about, researched, that Elaine Aron has talked about since her very first book, this idea that if we have had, as sensitives, and again, a lot of the things that I talk about have overlap with anyone in general, but especially for sensitives. If we have a childhood that is really, really supportive and loving and has all of the things in place to help us thrive, we will thrive even more likely than average, because we take in all of that stuff, just like that idea that we tend to seek out, but also get more benefit from things like counseling and coaching and other types of like alternative medicine and things like that. We're very open to these things. We take them in, like energy work, for example. We're more likely to say, oh, okay, maybe this will help me. And then it does, because we allow all that stuff in. So if we have that good start to our lives, then we are more likely to have all kinds of different techniques and understandings and way of life that help us stay healthy or manage stress, manage everything that's happening. If we have a childhood that was not supportive, loving, was maybe unsafe, we didn't get those tools as modeled from parents who were stable or helpful or loving, then what happens is the reverse. We're less likely to develop those good coping strategies and those good things that are going to help us stay healthy. Because again, we've taken in all of that stuff that's not helping us and not healthy, not safe, even more so. And that's really rocked us a lot more than average. And so it's harder to have those tools in place or to make those choices or to understand or see things in the way that's going to be very helpful for us. So recognizing that and thinking about back to your childhood, if you had a really rough start, give yourself that much more compassion for realizing like, oh yeah, I didn't learn all the right things growing up. And I didn't learn how to take care of myself or how to manage the stuff that's coming in, or, you know, differences of opinion or whatever it is. Those things are more challenging for me because I didn't get a good start with all of that. So allow that to give you more compassion for yourself, more honoring, and an idea that, you know, I can go forward and learn some things that I didn't learn when I could have, you know, as a young child, and be open to that. And then that can help you on that journey for not only being healthy, but happy and successful, whatever that is for you. All of those things can be easier when we have those tools and understanding and mindset and all of those things. So if you had a rough start, that's going to make things more challenging. And since they have connected things like diabetes and heart conditions, skin issues, digestive issues, even moving along toward dementia, having such a big effect from stress and stress responses, it's really important to be really aware of this and not taking it lightly. And then we do have this magical term that pops up all the time, mindset. And it's not really magical, but it is impactful and important if we realize that we don't always tell ourselves the most helpful things. And sometimes that's semi-consciously, kind of subconsciously, and sometimes it's completely unconscious because, again, what we were taught when we were younger, what our programming was as we were developing and growing. And so if we have already some kind of a health challenge and we have a mindset about it being horrible, can't be fixed, no one understands, it's never going to go the right way, that's going to be really challenging to resolve. Because what happens is, you know, everything that we tell ourselves, our unconscious just says yes or no. There's no judgment like, oh, well, I don't know if this will be good for me, maybe I'll follow this or not. It just says, oh, okay, that's the reality, I'm going to make that happen. And so if we're telling ourselves these things, even when we don't realize it, that are not helping us, our unconscious is just doing what it needs to do to make that the reality. So being aware of what we are telling ourselves about our condition, and then even things like expectations, if we look at things like the placebo effect, most everybody knows about that. You know, you have a sugar pill and you believe it's going to help you, and so it does. And that's the whole mind over matter thing, right? We can change our chemistry just by what we think and what we tell ourselves. So if we're thinking things like, or believing or telling ourselves on some level, and again, sometimes it's not at a conscious level, that say, I'm always sick in the winter, or, oh, it's allergy season, I'm going to be miserable, I'm going to be, you know, just not being able to do what I want to do because I'm so miserable. What's going to happen? Your nervous or your unconscious is going to say, oh, okay, noted, let's make sure that that happens. Versus just being aware that, oh, I'm having some sneezes today. Okay, what do I want to do about it? But not going to that place of, well, of course, because it's allergy season and here we go. And it's going to be months and months and months of discomfort, if not misery. Then, because again, the body will just follow according to what the unconscious is saying. So if we're aware of what that self-talk is, whether it's about something that we already have and we want it to get better, so we're not going to focus on all of the amazing or scary what ifs. If we always focus on like, well, what could happen in this? You know, what if I start doing these things to make life healthier and then I just get better? Or what if this doesn't really get in my way as much as I think it is? Versus if we have something going through our minds that this is horrible, there's no cure, there's no way I'm going to get out of this. There are so many stories of people basically showing the placebo or the nocebo, when you assume that something won't work and you make it true. So many stories of people who have been told either, you can't walk again, or you're going to not last more than a few months, or whatever, some kind of doomsday diagnosis or prognosis, with depending on the diagnosis. And then of course that can happen. But there are people who have gotten those prognoses and been able to say, yeah, no, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and see if I can fix that or change that. And then they end up totally fine. And then the reverse, some people will be told that, I don't think there's anything that you can do with this. And so then people will start deteriorating. And then somebody suddenly says, oh, you know what? We were wrong. This is actually the reality now. And then the person gets better because their mind believes through that, and tells the subconscious, oh no, I'm fine, I'm good, it's all good. And then everything acts accordingly. So there's so much involved in our self-talk, and it's easy to not recognize what we're telling ourselves, to not know at all if it's really from early on, or we've really repressed something and it's down there deep. We're not going to know. And so some techniques can be like tapping or hypnosis or NLP or something, things like that can help to bring stuff up from the unconscious and then shift it. And then sometimes we kind of know there's something going on, like it's in the subconscious level, where we're saying, there must be a reason that I'm thinking this or doing this. Oh, maybe it's this. And then you pursue that a little bit more and you realize, oh, I think this is related to when I was, 10, this happened, whatever. So just being aware that whatever we are telling ourselves is so important. And so if we can stop and ask ourselves, oh, I'm feeling stressed about this right now, what am I saying to myself about it? And then you check on that and then say, well, can I shift that at all? Can I tell myself something else to make the truth, and then have a different reaction or have a different response or experience with this? So just think of that as a possibility, and see how often you can catch yourself with that question. What am I telling myself? And then can that be adjusted? And then it's really, really important to have joy in your life. So how much do you experience, allow, and even create joy in your life? Because that will make a huge impact in your health and your overall experience of life, of course. But if we're really mired in negativity, we tend to not be so healthy or recover from things very well. So if we can be in that positive place, and it's really important for our nervous system and our immune system to be able to have positive experiences and experience joy. So I have another quote in this regard. A good laugh and a long sleep are the best cures in the doctor's book. And this is apparently an old Irish proverb. And it's so, so true, right? I talk about sleep as well. It's really important to get good sleep. And it's helpful for actually shifting our mindset, because sometimes we'll have a rough day or a rough spot in a day, and we go to bed and we're like, oh, I just want to go to sleep. And then we wake up and then it's a fresh day and we have a different viewpoint, and things just automatically seem better because we're in a different state of mind just from having that sleep. But the sleep itself is really important so we can have that rest and digest time. So it's really good. I'm glad it's part of that proverb. And then there's that piece about having fun. So if you can create joy in your life, and I say create because, things happen to us or happen for us, which is an easier way for our bodies to take it. And then we can create things. And so some things will happen that we have no control over, that we might like or not like. And if we really like them, we can maximize our responses to that and say, oh, this really does make me feel happy. I'm loving that. So I'm going to do more of that. And then we can create things ourselves and say, okay, how could, so if you can create an opportunity in your day. So let's say whatever your to-do lists are and whatever your schedule is for that day, partway through there, can you create 5 minutes, 10 minutes, where you just do something that creates joy, just makes you happy. You just have fun. whatever that is, something that resonates and supports, energizes, inspires you, whatever those things are that raise your vibration, that make you feel happier, experience more joy, have fun, rather than just following the grind, just doing everything that you're supposed to do and taking care of everybody else and waiting until the end of the day to see if maybe there's a little bit of time left for you. Again, that's part of that self-care and the mindset about that. But where can you create joy in your life every single day? And hopefully multiple times throughout the day. But even if you can put this in your schedule to make it actually happen, say you're working on putting your scheduling in your break times, so you make sure that you have that downtime and recovery time. So let's say during one of those 10 or 15-minute breaks that you have during the day that you're getting better and better at doing, that you do something not just calming and relaxing, but fun, something that really inspires you, something that really makes you laugh, smile, whatever, something that you would consider fun, and create that for yourself. And then, of course, in order to do that, you have to give yourself permission, which can be challenging for us, again, as sensitives, giving us permission to not just honor ourselves, but take care of ourselves and allow for fun, downtime, and fun. So how can you create that in your day? Again, it might be important to put it in your schedule, but each time that comes up, it's like, me time or fun time or whatever it is, what can you do? And it might be watching a video. It might be playing with your pet. It might be something with someone else, looking at a joke book, or whatever it might be that creates that sense of joy in you. And that will help you to manage your immune system, to feel healthier, to be healthier. And it's kind of like that idea that those who have animals have shown to have a longer, healthier life. If you have a pet of some kind, whatever, and it doesn't matter what that is, but you have something that you consider a pet that you give affection to, and most people would say receive affection from. But if you have that piece in your life, you tend to live longer and be healthier. So even if that's one other thing that I wasn't planning to talk about today, but you can include that in your prescription for being healthier. If you don't have a pet and you've been considering it, maybe it's a good time to do that, because by sharing that love with a pet and having that joy, that joyful piece, day in and day out, every single day, does really contribute to your overall health. Tends to help with heart conditions and diabetes, and all of those things that they will actually monitor and research. That's what they've shown. So creating that joy. So what can you do today to create more joy in your life? And what can you tell yourself to allow that to happen without feeling guilty, but to say, oh yeah, this is important for me. And then, like that quote earlier, if you are being more joyful, others around you are going to get the benefits from that. If you are more healthy, others can be healthier. You can help them more with what they're wanting to do or needing. So the more joyful you are, the higher your vibration, the more you are impacting positively everyone around you, whether that's your family and friends or those at work or just the greater whole. The more joy you can spread, the more love you can spread, the better everyone is. So, and I hope that gives you some different thoughts, different ways of looking at being healthy. And if you have any questions, of course, always reach out. But I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for stopping by. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and just be thinking of, how can you add joy and love in your life by creating that for yourself. So hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you again next time.